Okay, Colin.
Well, welcome everybody. Very happy to see you here. A little later, I'll give a proper introduction to our speaker tonight, who will be Kate Xavier. Will speak on interfaith dialogue in schools. But first, we have acknowledgement of country and a program of readings and music. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you. So thank you everyone for coming, and that we can begin by honouring Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people on whose land, when we're living in Australia, we are living upon. And I live on the Worimi people's land, north of Newcastle. And I really want to pay my respect, and I see that they have been modelling this incredible faithfulness to their creator, to be good stewards of the country that they have been entrusted with, to have deep knowledge of it, and to have the confidence that they have been loved by the country, and they love to take care of the country in response, and to think of future generations. So I think that God has given us a great lesson in their attitude to life and attitude to nature that we can take on board wherever we are living, to have that relationship and to learn to listen to God through the land and that relationship. And then that can inform us to have better relationships with each other. So I really honour the elders who've been able to pass that knowledge on through thousands of generations down to today, and it's still living and alive. It's been impacted from the last 250 years, but that love is still there. So thank you.
If you love me, keep my commandments, and I will pray the Father, and He will give you another helper, that He may abide with you forever. The Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it neither sees Him nor knows Him. But you know Him, for He dwells with you and will be in you, that He may abide with you forever. The Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it neither sees Him nor knows Him. But you know Him, for He dwells with you receive, because it neither sees him nor knows him, but you know him, for he dwells with you and will be in you, that he may abide with you forever. The Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it neither sees him nor knows him, but you know him, for he dwells with you and will be in you. I will not leave you orphans, I will come to you, that he may abide with you forever. The Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it neither sees him nor knows him, but you know him, for he dwells with you and will be in you. I will not leave you orphans, I will come to you. I will not leave you orphans, I will come to you.
Glorified are you, O Lord my God. Every man of insight confesseth thy sovereignty and thy dominion, and every discerning eye perceiveth the greatness of thy majesty and the compelling power of thy might. The winds of tests are powerless to hold back them that enjoy near access to thee from setting their faces towards the horizon of thy glory, and the tempests of trials must fail to draw away and hinder such as are wholly devoted to thy will from approaching thy court. Methinks the lamp of thy love is burning in their hearts, and the light of thy tenderness is lit with their breast. Adversities are incapable of estranging them from thy cause, and the vicissitudes of fortune can never cause them to stray from thy pleasure. I beseech thee, O my God, by them and by the side, with their hearts utter in their separation from thee, to keep them safe from the mischief of thy adversaries, and to nourish their souls with what thou hast ordained for thy loved ones, on whom shall come no fear, and who shall not be put to grief. For thy scriptures.
This that aches, thy sense life thrilling to the elements, bringing thee heat and cold, sorrows and joys, in brief and mutable. Bear with it, the soul which is not moved, the soul that which that with a strong and constant calm takes sorrow and takes joy indifferently, lives in the life undying. Hinduism. Birth is suffering, decay is suffering, death is suffering, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are suffering. Not to get what one desires is suffering. In short, the 5 groups of existence are suffering. And what, in brief, are the 5 groups of existence? They are corporeality, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Buddhism.
O Son of Man, for everything there is a sign. The sign of love is fortitude under my decree, and patience under my trials. O Son of Man, if adversities befall thee, not in my path, how canst thou walk in the ways of them that are content with my pleasure? If trials afflict thee, not in thy longing to meet me, how wilt thou attain the light in thy love for my beauty? O Son of Man, sorrow not save that thou art far from us. Rejoice not save that thou art drawing near and returning unto us. Baha'i Scriptures.
The Proverbs of Solomon. A wise son makes a glad father, but a foolish son is the grief of his mother. Treasures of wickedness profiting nothing, but righteousness delivers from death. The Lord will not suffer the souls of the righteous to famish, but he thrusts away the desire of the wicked. He becomes poor that deals with a slack hand, but the hands of the diligent makes rich. A wise son gathers in summer, but a son that does shamefully sleeps in harvest. Blessings are upon the head of the righteous, but the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. The memory of the righteous shall be for a blessing, but the name of the wicked shall rot. The wise in heart will receive commandments, but a parting fool shall fall.
For this is thankworthy, if a man for conscience toward God endure grief, suffering wrongfully. For what glory is it if, when ye be buffeted for your faults, ye shall take it patiently? But if, when ye do well and suffer for it, you take it patiently, this is acceptable with God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye, when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Though our outward man may perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day. Christianity.
We will surely prove you by afflicting you in some measure with fear and hunger and decrease of wealth and loss of lives and scarcity of fruits. Those who patiently persevere will truly receive a reward without measure. O no soul, do we place a burden greater than it can bear. Islamic Scriptures. Driven by fear, men take to many a refuge in mountains, forests, parks, sacred groves, and shrines, but these are not a secure kind of refuge. By taking to this sort of refuge, one is not released from suffering. He who has gone to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha for refuge, though, this is a secure refuge. This is the ultimate refuge. By taking to this refuge, one is indeed released from all suffering.
Be ye a refuge to the fearful, bring ye rest and peace to the disturbed, make ye a provision for the destitute. Be a treasury of riches for the poor, be a healing medicine for those who suffer pain. Be ye doctor and nurse to the ailing, promote ye friendship and honour and conciliation and devotion to God in this world of non-existence. Our call concerneth not this youth and the loved ones of God, for they are already sore tried and imprisoned, and expect nothing from men such as these. Our purpose is that thou mayest lift up thy head from the couch of heedlessness, shake off the slumber of negligence, and cease to oppose unjustly the servants of God. So long as that thy power and ascendancy endureth, strive to alleviate the suffering of the oppressed. Shouldst thou judge with fairness and observe with the eye of discernment the conflicts and pursuits of this transient world, thou wouldst readily acknowledge that they are even as the play which we have described. Baha'i Scripture.
In this present age, the world of humanity is afflicted with severe sicknesses and grave disorders which threaten death. Therefore, Baha'u'llah has appeared. He is the real physician, bringing divine remedy and healing to the world of man. He has brought teachings for all ailments, the hidden words, Ishraqat, Tarazat, Tajalliyat, words of paradise, glad tidings, etc. These holy words and teachings are the remedy for the body politic, the divine prescription and real cure for the disorders which afflict the world. Therefore, we must accept and partake of this healing remedy in order that complete recovery may be assured. Every soul who lives according to the teachings of Baha'u'llah is free from the ailments and indispositions which prevail throughout the world of humanity. Otherwise, selfish disorders, intellectual maladies, spiritual sicknesses, imperfections, and vices will surround him, and he will not receive the life-giving bounties of God. Baha'i Scriptures.
Sorrow not, if in these days and on this earthly plane things contrary to your wishes have been ordained and manifested by God for days of blissful joy, of heavenly delight, are assuredly in store for you. Worlds holy and spiritually glorious will be unveiled to your eyes. You are destined by Him in this world and hereafter to partake of the benefits, to share in their joys, and to obtain a portion of their sustaining grace. To each and every one of them you will no doubt attain. To each and every one of them you will no doubt attain. To each and every one of them you will no doubt attain. To each and every one of them you will no doubt attain.
Yes, Alaka. Anani.
Thank you very much to the readers, and welcome everybody. If everyone could stay muted unless you're the speaker, and later on unmute if you have a question, and we can raise hands using the reactions button. And my very great pleasure to introduce Kate Xavier on a topic which is obviously dear to our hearts, which is interfaith dialogue. We come here to learn, and now we're learning how to do it, which we need more of. So the topic is interfaith dialogue in schools. And Kate is the lead professional learning at Together for Humanity. Kate delivers professional learning and consultancy support to support schools enhance intercultural understanding, belonging, and inclusion. Kate is committed to community building and fostering interfaith solidarity. She currently serves as a member of the New South Wales Faith Affairs Council, is the chair of the Catholic Diocese of Parramatta Interfaith Commission, and the secretary of the Abraham Conference. And I believe we have had speakers from Abraham Conference here before. And very much looking forward to your talk, Kate.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the warmly welcoming me and for that very beautiful prayer service that's now made me feel very relaxed before presenting. I'd like to present with a PowerPoint today just to help keep me on track, which I'll share with you, and I hope that I'll be able to share some audio as well. So let's see how I go with getting this up. What is going on? Sorry. Share the screen. Why does it not want to? There we go. Here we go. Okay, we're in business now. Okay, so the theme of my presentation today is looking at interfaith dialogue in schools and how that can serve to build bridges, challenge stereotypes, and foster empathy. So my expertise is I'm a teacher by background, a high school teacher, and for the last probably 8 years, I've been working for an interfaith organisation, Together for Humanity, which works with schools to help foster inclusion and challenge prejudice. So before I start, I'd also like to acknowledge the traditional custodians. I'm here on Wongal land in Sydney's inner west, and I'd just like to acknowledge elders past and present, and acknowledge Aboriginal people's ancestral connection to our country, their care for land, waters, plants and animals over millennia, and their continuing contribution to society. And I pledge to commit to walk together with them in the paths of respect, reconciliation, and recognition. So today, we'll be looking at interfaith dialogue in Australian schools, where it's happening and where it's not. We'll look at some of the benefits of interfaith dialogue and some examples of effective interfaith programs that do exist in Australian schools. And I feel like I'm talking to the converted here because I know the Baha'i people have such a deep understanding of interfaith dialogue, and it's just, even being in that prayer service before has really, it highlights that. So I feel like I'm here to learn from you as well as you are to learn from me. So please, at any time you would like to ask a question or ask for clarification or share some information or your insights, please feel free. This is a really safe place for us all to learn together. So let's have a look at why interfaith is really important. Well, in Australia, we're multi-faith, we're multicultural, and young people have to live and work with diversity. And often what happens is we put kids into schools where there's, it's monocultural. There might be, faith-based schools, and the opportunity to mix with other young people who are different is limited. So having interfaith activities at school where, and really when we're working with young people, it's simple contact, going to visit a sacred space, listening and playing and talking to people who are different and sharing belief or lack of belief, sharing spirituality, or could be that there's no belief at all, and coming and listening and respecting. That's really important. And sometimes it doesn't happen. But when it can happen, there are lots of benefits. And the first one is it can challenge prejudice, fear or prejudice or hatred to another group who's different from your own. It can help young people think critically. And when they've heard stereotypes in the media or you've seen them in movies or on TikTok or wherever else they're accessing their information, when you meet people with face-to-face and you learn about the other, you come to develop your critical thinking. And that helps us challenge us versus them. We start to stop seeing as people as different from us and start to see them as being like us. And we're not enemies, we're here together. That sense of unity can grow. Young people can learn to mediate differences because of differences in belief. And we know young people, if you're on TikTok like me, you'll hear young people using language that is not inclusive, that's hurtful and harmful, because they don't know how to cope with difference. So helping young people by structuring an opportunity for them to meet people who are different or have different beliefs to them, whether they're religious beliefs or other, is really important to their development, to learn how to communicate respectfully. It can help them develop active listening skills, or they have to listen to the other rather than bringing their own preconceived ideas into the conversation. This is a really good one because it's often one that people get challenged on, but when you have to interact with another faith tradition, you actually deepen your understanding of your own, because you have to kind of learn about what your own faith teaches about particular topics. So it could be environment, or it could be justice or peace. These kind of encounters allow young people to actually delve a bit more into their own beliefs before they start interacting with others. And it can help young people unite through their values. They can find that even though they might be completely different and come from different parts of the country or the world, or look different, they actually can have common values. And this is a very strong way to unite people. And at the moment, I've popped this one in tonight because I think this is a very relevant one to our times. It can counter religious intolerance. In Australia here at the moment, we're hearing a rise of, and I've touched on typo there, Islamophobia and anti-Semitism in particular, because of what's happening in Gaza. So having people come together and talk and remember that we're human is really powerful. So this is why I think it's really important in our schools, because these things can't be taught by reading a book. They're about human interactions, and then there's skills that we have to learn and practice, and we use them throughout our lives. Currently in Australia, there is no place for interfaith dialogue, but we have this great thing called the Australian curriculum. And in the Australian curriculum, there's a series of sets of what's called general capabilities, and they're seen as skills and dispositions that young people should have. And one of those is intercultural understanding. There's literacy, numeracy, ICT skills, and of course they're seen as the most important. But this is one of the other sets of capabilities young people should have. Learning how to recognize culture, their own and others, and developing respect, interacting and empathizing with others, and also reflecting on intercultural experiences. So sometimes we have a good experience with the other, and other times it's not so pleasant. So helping young people navigate this sort of wheel of intercultural understanding, and in that would sit interfaith dialogue. And in this case, because we're working with young people, sometimes it's just an interfaith encounter. So dialogue sometimes does happen, but more often than not, we're sitting at that very basic end of encountering and very basic connection between people who are different. In New South Wales, where I live, there is one opportunity to explicitly look at interfaith dialogue, and that's in the Studies of Religion course, which is a really great course. It's not compulsory by any means. Tends to be taken up by a lot of Catholic schools and a lot of independent schools, but not so much public schools. So this is sometimes the first opportunity that young people have had to learn about other faiths or worldviews, if they have, religious systems and belief systems. So, and they studying this at age 16, 17, 18. So it's quite a late entry into learning about world religions. So having a space for younger people, younger children to learn about religion, I think it's really important for some of these really essential life skills. Now, some schools, as we know, as interfaith practitioners here, that some people are just not comfortable talking about religion. They don't want to talk to people who are different from themselves. They feel scared or nervous. And some of our schools will say, look, our students don't have a faith. And if you look at in Australia, this census data. So a lot of people don't have a faith. So it may not be, they might not see it as relevant. What's happening at the moment is dialogue can be hampered by global conflicts. People just find it too hard. I know Siva mentioned the Abraham conference before. We actually had to cancel it this year because we just couldn't go through with dialogue. So interfaith dialogue. So dialogue can be tricky. And just what I find, look, I come from a Christian tradition. Sometimes when we're working in interfaith dialogue, things are very Christian. We can't come at it from a Christian lens. We've got to be more broadly open-minded. And I guess I'm speaking more to my tradition here because I think you're doing it very well. But another challenge in schools is that there's no clear link to curriculum. So if they don't have to tick a box to do it, some schools just won't do it. So you can sort of see now that what these great benefits, but it can be really tricky for schools to take this up because they're just not sure or how it will be received, and they're not sure where to put it. But it is happening, and it does happen. So we've been doing these programs for 20 years with schools and public schools, Catholic schools and private schools. We work with Muslim schools and Jewish schools and other schools, all different schools who want to come together and help their young people learn how to get along with people who are different. So if, some tips that we would give people are listed here, but really just being clear with what you're trying to do. The intention is not to convert people. We make that really clear. It's just to learn and connect and often do an activity together so that we can find our common humanity. I thought we might play a game now because I think a really fun part of doing interfaith work with young people is that games are really important. So we would like to play this game. It's very easy. You can use the chat if you would like, or you can just write it on a piece of paper. You're more than welcome to, or just think it in your head. You're more than welcome. So we would do this with cards, a card game, and then have young people play it like a competition. And normally, and I must apologize because most of the schools I work with have a Jewish, Christian, and Muslim background, but I've tried to add in a Baha'i perspective today. And thank you to Uncle Siva, and also someone from the Baha'i Council from New South Wales helped as well. So hopefully I've done a good job representing your tradition here today. What I'd like you to do, I'm going to show you a picture. You can use the chat, or you can just write it in your on a piece of paper. Tell me which tradition, which religion this picture belongs to. I'll try and do it as quickly as we can. First one. Okay, we're going to move to, I've seen one, but I'm guessing you're all thinking about this. Number 2. Yes, number 3. Look at this. You guys are amazing. Getting them all right. Number 4, here's a bit of a tricky one. It's a sacred text. It says here, we have created you from male and female, and made you peoples and tribes that you may know one another. I can see a few comments in the chat there. Let's go on to number 5. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Okay, number 6. If you lay a siege against a city if you lay a siege against a city in a war against it, you should not destroy its fruit trees, because if you leave them, you may eat from them. Okay. Number 7, picture there that says fasting. And finally, number 8, the best beloved of all things in my sight is justice. Turn not away therefrom if thou desirest me. I think you did really well in that chat, but let's go through the answers. If you said this is Christianity, you'd be correct. And we can tell by the cross there. So, and also there's a little picture of Mary that you might see in there. So that would give a clue. This one, most of you got, this is actually a masbah. That's a Muslim one, but it's present in many religions. So if you said all, that could be correct as well, in Buddhism as well. And number 3 is the shofar, which is the ram's horn in Judaism. So it's a Jewish symbol, signaled at the new year. The sacred text here in number 4 is from the Quran. Number 5, when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. This one's taken from Christianity. However, I did notice in the chat someone said, was it Hinduism? You can take your mic off and share if you want.
Yeah, I think from what I've read, it could be a part of the Bhagavad Gita as well, because that's where something similar is there, but I might be wrong, so I can bring up the source if possible.
Oh, that would be amazing, because you know what? I had a Muslim teacher and a Christian teacher fight over this one. This is mine. No, this is mine. And this is what we want, because we want to see. Sometimes we forget just how similar the teachings are. And for young people, when they do this, like the joy comes in. It's like a relief almost. Like the teachings are not that different. The messages are quite.
This shows that. Sorry, this shows that the source is one.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Really does.
It is Hindu as well. It is Hindu.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. I'm so happy that I was able to learn. See what I mean about learning from each other. This is such a beautiful way to learn and share, and see how you opened up. You started telling me. I love that. That's the point. So when we get together and we share our knowledge, we're building that connection and we're building that community. Okay, number 6. This one is Judaism, and I believe it's from the Talmud. Now, my boss, he's a Orthodox rabbi, so he found this one in the Talmud. So sometimes people get a bit unsure with this one because it's not so familiar.
Interesting, because I wrote Hazrat Abu Bakr gave an advice during the war, and I have a source which says that a similar advice that he gave to the people who were during the war to kind of save the animals and the young kids and trees, and then they can use the fruit-bearing trees for their own nourishment during the war times.
Yes.
So I can pull it up. I can share the source as well if.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I really love this idea of how we're finding these commonalities here. Yes. The fasting could be everyone. There's so many traditions that fast, and often young people they go, oh no, only Muslims fast. But then once they start talking, they realize actually, oh yeah, other people do fast. And you know what? People who are not don't have a religion might also fast and might be doing it in a different way, or they might be doing it as a spiritual fast. So there's different ways that young people can connect. So if you're working with a lot of people that aren't religious, you can find different ways to substitute the texts or examples so that they can connect. And then this last one is I've written it down so I've got it right, from the I can't read my writing. The hidden word, is that what it's
Hidden
called?
words of Baha'u'llah, yes.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, so even that idea of justice, I bet if I did this with a bunch of Christians, they'd all say it's theirs. And if it was with a bunch of Jewish people, Muslim people, this is just such a universal, beautiful teaching. So this is one activity that you could do if you were working with people or in your own communities, or people came to your temple or a center where you're teaching. You could do something like this. I mean, it's already on your walls. I've been to the Ingleside Temple. Something like this is a beautiful way for young people to learn. And then what we will do is just ask a question. And because I'm running kind of short on time, I feel like I'm talking a lot. I wondered if anyone would like to share, like, what has anything in your thinking changed after this experience? Did anyone learn anything, or did anyone want to share any insights?
I think this idea of who owns the truth, because when it comes to ethical values, these are shared values, and somebody would claim that this is Muslim, this is Christian, this is that, but a lot of these are articulated, re-articulated over time and place, and then there's no one who can claim that this is ours because this is shared by all.
Thank you for that reflection. Again, every time I do this, I hear new insights that I'd never heard before. So it's really beautiful when people share.
Can I say something?
Yes.
To my understanding, all those writings you brought up shows that there is one book, and from that book, one book, and we are reading different chapters because they're all one. No one can claim these are one mine. They are one book of God, but different chapters, and told in different languages according to the need. This is what I understand.
Yes, it gives us an insight into that deep connection and wonder, doesn't it? A sense of wonder of how can the Hindu scripts, and these, Jewish scripts or whatever it is. Yeah. So this is a great way. I always think a debrief activity is really important with young people, because they might not have that deep thinking like we do, and they might have questions. So this gives them a chance to ask questions and clarify their knowledge. Okay. What I wanted to say is, how do we get young people to do this? Well, I was thinking you've got this amazing, your Baha'i centers there that you probably have lots of young people coming through, but we say, young people can go to these sacred places and learn about them, but they can also have people come into the schools, which is sometimes what they prefer. And in my role, I tend to now work with teachers and parents, but I used to run these programs with the young people, and we can go in, there's different organizations that can go in and actually help have these conversations with young people, which takes a bit of pressure off the teacher. I wanted to share this video with you, and I really hope that you can hear it. So I'm just going to test it, and if it's not working, I might hand over to Siva to play it from his end. So let's see how this goes. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear it?
I am very, very excited to learn about the Muslim culture and hear about different opinions and different perspectives from the Jewish one.
I hope that we interact well and that we become really good friends, because I like going to Mount Sinai a lot. Usually I'm just in a society where it's Jewish people, and I want to see the differences and if the religion really changes anything.
I'd want them to know that we're kind and loving and always open for new friends and things like that.
Together for Humanity, it's an essential program. It lies at the core of turning things around.
So that's what today is about. It's about respect, it's about friendship, and it's also about a little bit of fear that hopefully we leave behind today. So if you're feeling a little bit afraid, don't worry, it's not so embarrassing. I got over it. And I think you will.
The Interfaith program is important, and it's an integral part of trying to create bridges where I think some bridges have been burned.
Even though we're like from different religions and different cultures, like we can all be friends. So I made a lot of new friends today, and they were all really nice to me. I learned a lot of stuff. They're not that different to us.
I learned that our religion and their religion is so different, and it doesn't matter, we can still get along together.
This is the first inter-school, interfaith iftar that I know about, certainly the first in Australia and probably the first in the world. So it's a historic first. Congratulations.
If this event didn't happen, I would have missed out on learning about new cultures and making new friends. It was really fun, and it was a really good experience.
Any religion, any culture, they all love what they do and they all love who they are. So I think it's nice that we're all coming together and sharing it.
We made food for the needy and for people who need the food to help them survive on the streets, and given it to the Salvation Army.
So we cooked like a soup and a salad, and a few of the teachers went out onto the streets near the train station, and they started handing them out just so they could feel comfortable and they could have something to eat because they haven't eaten.
My favorite part was dicing the onions because I saw everyone crying and it was kind of funny.
Well, it's very different for me as a parent because Mila has cerebral palsy. And what I've witnessed by being at the program is it further highlights that everybody's different, but there's a core similarity that lies within us.
When we were chopping up vegetables to other kind of people helped me like cut.
We went to the hall in the park to do some games with the Quran and the Talmud. We're going to break you into small groups, and we're going to give you a whole series of religious quotes. And what you're going to do is you're going to work out which text comes from which religious tradition.
Yes. Like the Jewish religion and Muslim religion are pretty similar. Like that I've realized from this past. Yes, they look pretty similar. And I'm like,
So I joined one of the circles here, and we were going through the different scriptures, and it was very interesting, even for me and for all the other students, that a lot of the scriptures were very, very similar, and we really struggled to say, oh, which one belongs with the Torah section, which one belongs with the Quran.
We actually like literally got both of them confused. Like we thought that all the ones from the Quran were from the Torah and vice versa. So it was really weird.
Well, I learned that we have a lot of similarities, and also that we can work together if we don't have tension between each other.
Whether you're Christian or you're Muslim, whether you're Jewish, whatever your background is, you're always asked to think about something other than yourself as well. I live with mom and dad. I've got to think about them. How can I help them? I've got neighbors. How do I help my neighbors and serve my neighbors and be a good person?
we made so many friends there. I also learned a few people's names.
Charlie and Rafi. Jacob, Lara, Muhammad,
Ariana, Sarah, Zane, Noah, Ruby, Milana, and I forgot a few people's names.
The Together Humanity experience at our school has been wonderful. It really has been. It's really a great opportunity to bring people of all walks of life together.
We've been involved with Together for Humanity and the Interfaith Program for probably over 12 years, and I've just seen waves of Year 6 children go through that and benefited enormously from their developing that intercultural understanding. It's been magnificent.
What I'd like to see is for the program to grow and flourish, and as a result of that, for the children to grow and flourish because of it and with it.
The common goal is we all love our children, and ultimately we should all love each other's children.
Okay, well, let's see if I can get to the So I hope you enjoyed that one, but it gives you a sense of what's possible. You just need to make opportunities for young people to come together. And I just flick through these, some people do prayer services, some people do iftar dinners or leadership talks. There's lots and lots of examples of how this can be done. And if you're interested, you feel free to talk to me. I'll be happy to share information with you or put you onto some resources if you are interested in doing something like this, or if you'd like something in your own community, we can facilitate that as well. So I just wanted to share with you my email and my number. If you want to stay in touch, please do. And I've put a couple of websites there in case who do really good interfaith work with young people. And can give, and down the bottom, the Columban Centre, you maybe heard of Father Patrick McInerney. He's probably been one of your speakers, but he has some really great publications, and you could share some of your work in there as well. So that's really it from me. Thank you for listening, and I'll hand back over to Siva.
Thank you, Kate. That was wonderful. And now it's time to open up for questions. And please use the reactions button if you would like to, and raise my hand just so I can get in first. and yeah, there are so many interesting things there, and I think it's I mean, this isn't just a group of Baha'is. We're a group from all different backgrounds and beliefs, and we've had atheists and all kinds of presentations, and yet no matter how much we know about our own religion, we're all beginners in a sense of interfaith dialogue. So everything you have said today is very relevant and helpful for each of us. And it seems to me that children aren't born with a prejudiced mind. They somehow learn it later. And it's very hard once they start learning it, it's hard to overcome it, because the culture, their friends, the groups they're in all reinforce different kinds of prejudice, but religious prejudice seems to be the one which is really sticking the hardest and the hardest to overcome. So I think it's really wonderful what you're doing. It's necessary, and it probably should be everywhere, because you're supporting the parents as well. it's very hard for parents to do this on their own. I just want you made a good point about different types of dialogue, and the dialogue with children isn't necessarily straight into talking and solving theological problems. It's more about an encounter and just meeting each other and seeing the similarities. Is that how you see it? Is that, would you regard that as a form of dialogue?
Yes, the dialogue of life, everyday life, even, going to when you see them taking each other to the canteen, they go to each other's school, and they're just sharing food, they're coaching each other, they're talking about their everyday lives, and then, it's everyday conversation, because that's a good starting point for them. And then we usually work with something I did take out of the slide was that we get the elders in the community, so the sheikhs or the religious elders, to come in and do a bit of coaching beforehand and be there and be present so they feel safe. But yeah, it's usually just everyday things. Any of it's sport, soccer, football, whatever it is, art. We did one where there was a environmental focus, planting trees. So it's that everyday, and getting them to use their hands, gives them something else to talk about. And then once they're comfortable, then you can get into more complex things. And I guess that works the same with adults too. So it's a really simple way of doing it, rather than overwhelming people with text and theology. It's really simple, and then we can build it from there.
I like it, because these are mental constructs, and the bigger we draw the circle, the more likely we're all going to be in it. So if I could ask questioners to just make the comment brief and to the point. Yung, you're next.
Thank you so much, Kate and Silva. It's a very important subject, and always this subject for me, I look beyond the basic topic that you talk about. It's not only religious study, it's about labor force. You're building a labor force for the near future. All these children might become volunteers later on. Some get paid, some will not get paid. And the finance, the cost involved, and the safety involved. The problem with theory and practice that in theory we say a lot of beautiful things, but in practice we never advise our children the dangerous area they're gonna enter into. Just like if they have a gap year after they finish HSC, they want to go overseas for 1 year gap year before they get into university. We never tell them about which area is safe to go into, which area have water, which area have food, which area have syringe. We tell them nothing, including junior high school, secondary high school, we tell them nothing. So we send them out, and I follow them, and I see them don't have clothes, pick up the syringe, clean up the ground on the street, something like that. So it's not practical. I mean, that is extremely dangerous. When you want to build a safe workforce, the kids got no idea. So what I'm saying is all fall into the parents' guardian. The parents have to play a very big role in it. Can't give everything to the teacher. And we don't talk about martyrdom either. Some kids have got martyr. We never talk about them. We give them the name saint. They become saint. It's so basic. It's so easy. So what we think about for the near future, because we build in a free labor force. We don't have to pay them. To tell them love, love, love. Thank you, Kate.
I think that was a comment.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And it's good because it's stirred something in you, and you're building connections between the information, and you're right. And I think really about the parents and having parents involved as well and building on their capacity is very important. So thank you.
Siva.
Thank you. Oh, that's an amazing presentation. I wish you could have taken more time, Kate, to give the presentation. I actually met Kate through the Facebook because we had shared interests. And then I found out that she is married to a Sri Lankan. So that's additional bonus. But I didn't know that she was working in this area. But it is a fascinating and wonderful service that actually you are doing. And there are two people, Anisha, who was there, but she has to go. She left some time back. She actually gave a presentation called scriptural reasoning. That's something what do you call, which university? Cambridge University developed that idea, where friends bring some quotations from their traditions and try and explain this and discuss about it. That was one, and she was actively contributing today, but she had to leave. And the other one is Barbara Levin. She lives in Melbourne. She couldn't stay longer, but she really wanted to talk to you, so I will give you a number to her. I really like this idea, but I want to know how many schools have you visited, and are all schools open to this kind of activity, and how can we participate or support your activity?
Excellent question. Well, yes, at the moment we have some government funding from the Australian government, so we can go into, we've got partners in Adelaide, and we've got a team in Queensland, team in New South Wales. We can do this by, so sometimes the interfaith programs, we need schools. The schools are up to it. We can do it anywhere, and we don't charge. We have a team of it's subsidized at the moment from the government, so we can go in and do this. We're teachers, and some of us are volunteers who just want to join in and they don't want to be paid. And we've got some people who come in as a casual presenter, and they get paid to come in and share their tradition. So that's how it works. Some of the programs we do are not religious based. They're more around, there could be racism, it could be difference or prejudice, so depending on what the school wants. But at the moment, yeah, I think in the last 2 years, Together for Humanity has seen 13,000 students.
Wow.
Face to face. So and sometimes that's just a one-off where we take people from a few different religions, and it's like a human library. Sometimes it's we do that, what the video you saw, we do that once a term. We've got a few schools that commit to that every year. Sometimes we go in for guest presentations. So whatever the schools are very flexible, and we just really want to open the conversation. And so yeah, if you'd like to join, you're welcome to shoot me an email and I can connect you with someone. Like I said, that we do have casual paid work, and we do have capacity depending on what you would like. Yeah, we do. We always need people who would like to share and be part of the movement, because it gives a lot of satisfaction to be part of it. Even when I did resign, I took on another role, and I spent 1.5 years at my other job, and I was like, oh, I miss it too much, because I miss you be with the young people, and it's very it's joyful, it's hopeful. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. We also have like online resources and things like that, but and if if you're not interested in young people, there's other capacity too, in terms of the Abraham conferences, learning and gathering together. So yeah, I'd be happy to facilitate something. I don't charge, we don't charge, so I can come and do it for free, like a workshop for you. So if you let me know if your community wants it and I can get there, I will be very happy to do it for you, no problem. And bring all the resources with me. So
yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, dealing with the children, especially the primary school children, and in the video we could see how they are lightened up by these activities.
Yeah.
The more that we can reach the schools at this age, I mean primary school age, better will be the results, and sooner than later we will have peace and unity. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
100%.
Thank you very much. That was a very good presentation. And it's good that the children are involved and they are learning. And my question is, how much influence the teachers have, and how are the teachers, they are welcoming you, or do this? That I'm sure the teachers will also have some sort of prejudice among the different religions. How do you work with them?
Yes, well, actually, my job now is working specifically with teachers to help them understand, because sometimes they just don't. They just, again, have the prejudice of never met someone who's different, or they have, and so we have to sometimes work with the teachers and the families. That's the hardest bit to get into the families. But most of the time, you've got a few champion teachers who love to be there, and they're really supportive, and they help and they drive it. And there are some really amazing teachers out there. And usually once we do a bit of work with them and that we give them this opportunity as well, that's when they come to see the value in it. So it's often, again, that experience of when your heart is impacted, you come on the journey. So yeah, generally, yes, teachers are pretty good. Yeah. There's always a few that don't see the value in it and they will resist. There's always going to be people like that, but generally they're okay.
Thanks.
Marina.
We are muted, Marina.
Sorry, thank you. I just want to know, you're doing this in public schools.
Mm-hmm.
Just for knowledge, I mean, if there's a private school, I mean, there are things which are very difficult with private schools, because if it is a Catholic school, they won't allow these things to happen, or how does it work?
No, not at all. Usually, we work with a lot of independent and Catholic schools because it's part of their teaching to connect to others and to like mission work, more so to understand other people. So actually private schools are more open to this, and independent schools, yes, very much. So it's usually it's easier for them to do it. Public schools will often engage when there has been an incident, it's racism or anti-Semitism, Islamophobia. That's when they'll call out and they'll say, oh, can we have some help? But ideally, this should not be happening at that point. We should be doing this as prevention, as a normal part of life, that we have these kind of programs, because this can prevent, this is a way to prevent prejudice, really. So yeah, all schools, we've worked with quite a lot of public schools. It's quite even across the board.
And with the private or independent school, whatever you call like a Catholic, Anglican, whatever church, they welcome?
Yes. Catholics, I have got to say, and coming from a Catholic background, they're probably the most open from a Christian perspective, because they, the Pope has said things around interfaith dialogue and he sanctioned it. So we do have a lot of work with Catholic schools who want to connect with other religions. So yeah, some of the others, some of the smaller Christian churches, not so much. Yeah, not so much. But the Muslim community and Jewish community are very open to it. We have one. I know there's one Buddhist school in Sydney, but we haven't engaged with them yet. But hopefully, you never know. If you know anyone who would like it, yeah, feel free to have a conversation, share my number, and they can speak about it if they would like to. Sometimes it's just fear, but we can set them up for success if it's we dialogue through it before we plan in that planning phase. Yeah.
You got the funding from government, right? I mean, whatever the government you got.
Yeah.
But then why wouldn't they encourage more in public schools?
Well, it's up to the school. The school has that decision.
So it's up to the principal.
Correct. It's up to the principal. And what we find very effective is if parents ask the school and say they want this, that this is really important to me. That is very effective, because the principals will do it, particularly if your child has experienced discrimination, prejudice, they've been bullied for their faith or because of their skin color or whatever. And the parent has said something, the school often don't know what to do. So having a group like ours come in and do some work with the students and the teachers, it's very helpful. So yeah, Yeah, and like I said, it is subsidized, so it comes from federal government at the moment, but we also have a lot of donations from the local community who support fundraisers and things like that. So we're trying, because if we charge, people won't, it's a barrier to participation.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Can I ask a second question?
Yes, Siva.
Yeah, about the school curriculum. The only link that was mentioned is that intercultural understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from the experience that you have had, and also from the video that I see, to me, it looks having interfaith or interreligious dialogue or something related to that in the curriculum, it will be more useful in all schools. So is there any effort by any group to advocate to bring about change in the curriculum as an important thing in the curriculum?
Yeah, what I do know is there is a few advocacy groups. I know I'm not part of these groups, so I can't speak too much to them, but they are advocating for something called general religious education in schools, so that all young people can have exposure to different worldviews. So it could be religious ones and non-religious ones, spiritualities, religious traditions. So that is one thing that is happening. There's a lot of people who say, young people, we're seeing this prejudice because they haven't experienced it. There's nothing in the curriculum. So there is bits and pieces, like in like primary school, they'll do celebrations, but it's quite tokenistic. Celebrations, migration, things like that in history and geography. But in terms of something deeper, no, there's not a lot. So, and sometimes in PDHPE as well, in sport and the PDHPE curriculum, they'll have things around respect for relationships. So you've got to be quite creative with how you link this kind of thing in. It can be done, but it is sometimes not as clear cut as, yeah.
Yes.
Hope that helps.
And actually, my wife Vasanta, she's here. She is involved with the Women Interfaith Network, and organizer Josie Lacey. She is also involved with the Religion for Peace. So Father Patrick McNary, he is involved with that, and Kim Chong. I don't know whether you know.
Yes.
She has given a presentation at our meeting, and the Columban Institute and the youth. What is it? Youth Power, or there is a young group that is also working in this field. So I think they are doing quite a lot of good things in the society. Yes. Thank you.
Also, Subeda gave a presentation in our meeting.
Oh, Leveda, yeah. She's on the board of Together for Humanity. So she's connected as well. Everyone's connected. Now you're connected. So, yeah.
Okay.
Young, yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Kate. It's just like an objective views here. I wonder whether you agree with that or not. I think the children of the private school, the children of the rich people become more like a target for this sort of study and sent to services, and then being informed about the danger of the location where they step in. I don't mind if our children got sent, as volunteer, got sent into the place where there's no water. But if they reported to me that there's no water, the place where they are, I want to know how many kids over there got affected. And if they said 100 kids or 200 kids, that will be a big issue that the government have to step in, right? So that will be out of our hands. So that I think that is very important, especially kids when they want to do gap year. And because the parents are so rich, they can afford to send these children out. But we got to look into the budget. So that is my experience. Thank you very much.
Well, I can comment one thing about in New South Wales we have independent schools that they're actually a lot of them are there's a lot of them are quite low fee paying, and there's quite a lot of so sometimes some schools have got quite a lot of privilege and wealth, but others are actually small and they're very low fees and they're community schools. So it is so I'm not sure, but I just hope that helps you when you're thinking about some of these things.
No, that's what I'm saying. Very objective views. It might be not reflect everyone, but I'm saying the children from the, from the public school, their parents work so hard that they probably couldn't afford to send all these kids for volunteer work. Like overseas here, New York or Japan or China or wherever, because it does cost a lot, and especially the kids ain't been told about the danger they're gonna get into, and then the environment they're gonna be in with other children of other families. We don't want to push our kids into that sort of no control whatsoever. And so they report every day. So what we're going to do, we can provide water for how many kids? 100, 200, 300 in one day, every day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yung. While other people are thinking of what questions or comments, can I just share at one of the schools where I was giving this special religious education. I thought one way to emphasize the sacredness of scriptures is, and what I did was, while the children were working on activity, I'd set this up on a table and just put the holy books of a few major religions there. And if the teachers, if the school permits, maybe some candles, and just create a sense of reverence. And then while the children are working, then one by one or two by two, just bring them up, show them these books, open the page somewhere saying this is what you can read for spiritual nourishment a little bit every day if you want to. And then they go back to the work. Just try to create a sense of the sacredness.
That's wonderful. That's beautiful. Yes.
Well, we were lucky in that school because a new principal came and she wanted this kind of class because her own child had been in it at a previous school where she was deputy principal. And then after a few years, a new principal came along who didn't like religion at all and moved all of our children across to ethics classes. And now the ethics classes are great, but there's no joy. There's no music, there's no singing, there's no laughter. It's a little bit academic. So that was a shame. And some parents were upset because they weren't asked for permission to move their classes, their children. Does anyone else have any comments or questions for Kate? This is a rare opportunity to have Kate with us.
Sure, Nat.
Yes. In Ethiopia, in our school, it is mandatory to teach ethics. Ethics started like the past 30-something years, but the result is really totally devastating because the kids who went to three systems end up in being, what do you call, they become more of animalic nature. Because they are void of the big thing in themselves. That is, they are not trained to be compassionate, to fear God, the focus is on lower moral teachings, which is good, but it doesn't have an impact. You can come see, coping is now become a fashion of the day in schools, even in universities. See, this is the result of teaching ethics. You have to change the heart and mind through nurturing soul.
Yeah, it is a very interesting argument, isn't it? It's very interesting to think that what these young people will miss out on when they're, there is a lot of value in ethics, but sometimes, what do we miss out on? And what could we be, if we could add that, that worldview perspective and learn about others. And I think that's very enriching. But yeah, we're fighting a battle sometimes with that. So. Well, I just want to thank you all for listening and being such a wonderful audience, and please feel free to stay in touch. I do have to go because I've got 2 little girls that are waiting for me to say goodnight to them. So I just thought,
thank you.
And you've got my contact. I can just chuck it in the chat there. So thank you so much, and thank you, Siva, for inviting me. It was lovely to meet you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Ave Maria.